In the intro series, you were introduced to the idea that choice is always happening. That alone is a powerful realization. But here's where many people get tripped up, even after they understand that idea intellectually. They still think of choice as a decision, a moment where you stop, think, weigh options, and decide what to do next. Reality transurfing points to something much more subtle. Choice is not something you make at the level of thought. Choice is something that happens at the level of state. Before you ever make a decision, your inner state is already selecting a lifeline. This is why people can make what looks like a good decision and still end up with the same kind of results. They changed the choice, but they didn't change the state they were choosing from. Most people try to change their lives by deciding harder. They push for clarity, they push for motivation, they push for certainty. But pushing is already a state. And that state quietly determines what kind of reality responds. From the transurfing perspective, you don't choose outcomes directly. You choose orientation. You choose how you are positioned internally in relation to life. That orientation then determines which lifeline becomes accessible. This is hinted at early in the Reality Transurfing book when Zealand begins talking about lifelines and the mirror principle. The world reflects not what you want, but what you are broadcasting through your inner state. Here's a simple example most people recognize. Someone feels stuck in a job. They decide they need change. They apply for new roles, update their resume, and push themselves to move forward. But underneath the action, the inner state is urgency, frustration, and pressure. Even when a new opportunity appears, it often carries the same emotional tone as the old one. Different job, same feeling. The decision changed, but the state didn't. Now imagine the same situation from a different orientation. Instead of forcing a decision, the person stabilizes a calmer inner position. Less urgency, less importance, more clarity. From that state, different options become visible. Different conversations happen. Different timing appears. The choice looks similar on the surface, but the lifeline it opens is completely different. This is the paradox many people miss. Trying to choose your way out of resistance keeps you on a lifeline where resistance exists. Reality transurfing doesn't ask you to stop making decisions. It asks you to notice what state those decisions are coming from. When the state shifts, choice becomes easier. Not because you're trying less, but because you're no longer fighting reality. This is why effort alone so often backfires. Effort amplifies importance. Importance creates imbalance. Imbalance attracts resistance. And resistance is simply the mirror reflecting your inner tension. In this course, we'll keep returning to this idea from different angles. Not to complicate it, but to help you recognize it in real time. Because once you see how state precedes choice, you stop blaming yourself for being bad at choosing. You start paying attention to something much more useful, how you are relating to what's happening right now. For now, you don't need to fix anything, just notice. Notice moments where you feel pressure to decide. Notice when urgency shows up. Notice when choice feels heavy instead of natural. That awareness alone begins to loosen old trajectories, and it prepares you for the next layer of understanding. Because if choice is really about state, the next question becomes obvious. What is constantly interfering with our state, often without us even realizing it? When you're ready, move on to the next module.